So welcome to Big Data lecture series. So in the previous sessions we completed first 3 units concepts like introduction to big data challenges, various applications of big data, and unit number 2 we covered concepts like Hadoop, applications of Hadoop and Hadoop ecosystem, and how to perform basic read data operations in Hadoop we completed. When we moved to the unit number 3, we completed the map reduce concepts, components of mapper and components of reducer, the working of mapper and reducer components with examples we have seen. Now we are moving into another area called pig and hive. So in unit number 4, we are going to discuss about how the pig and hive are going to be used in data pre-processing and data analytical activities. Pig and hive are the two basic sub-projects of Hadoop ecosystem. Now we will see the concepts of pig and hive. So here we are going to discuss about the hive and the components of hive and working of hive, and basic information related to hive are going to be covered in this session. Now if we have a look at the close look on the learning objectives and learning outcomes of the syllabus, we are focusing mainly on, we will study the basic hive architecture and we will focus on what are the different hive file formats which is offering, and we will study about hive query language. And upon completion of the syllabus, the students are able to understand the complete working architecture of hive, and students are able to create databases, tables, and they can write queries in hive query language, and they will have a complete command on how to manage tables in hive database environment. So in this, these are the syllabus which are going to be offered in this unit. Here we are having introduction to hive, and we will see the complete architecture of hive, and we will see what are the various data types that hive is offering, and what are the different types of file formats that hive is allowed to store various data elements in its format, and we will see the programming concept called hive query language, that we can call it as HQL, and we will see the user defined functions in hive. So among all these concepts, we will see the architectural point of view, we will see the data types of hive, and we will see the hive query language and user defined functions in hive. Now have a look at on the agenda. Now in this session we are going to see the basic definition of hive, that means what is hive. We will see the components and working of each and every component of hive architecture. We will discuss about different types of data types that hive is offering, and what are the basic primitive data types, what are the collection data types, and we will see what are the different types of file formats that hive is able to store different data elements like text file, sequential file, and record columnar file. And we will see the complete information related to hive query language, that means how to create a table, how to access a table, and how to insert a table. That means we are going to apply some basic data definition operations and data manipulation language operations, that is DDL and DML operations we are going to apply on hive, and we will see how to create databases in hive, tables in hive, partitions in hive, buckets in hive, and how to perform the basic aggregation operations on data using hive query language, and we will see the concepts like group by and halving while dealing with the more number of elements in a given table, and we will see the serializer and deserializer, SCR, serializer and deserializer. So these are the concepts which we are going to cover in the session. Now we will have a look at on what is a hive. So as we discussed earlier, hive is a data warehousing tool. Hive is a data warehousing tool Hive is used for query structured activity. That means we are all well aware of structured query language called SQL. Structured query language SQL, which is used to write basic queries in Oracle environment or DBMS environment. Whereas HQL, that is Hive, will also perform basic structured query language operations like in SQL. But Hive is going to be used in data warehousing environment, whereas SQL is going to be used in RDBMS environment. If you look at the complete definition, Hive is a data warehousing tool. Hive is used for query structured data built on top of Hadoop. That means in Hadoop environment, to write queries in order to access the data, we can take Hive as a programming tool, either to access or to store the data. Now initially Hive was created by the Facebook company. The Facebook has created Hive in initial days. Later, the Hive has been handed over to the Apache Foundation. So
initially Hive was created by Facebook. Now what is the purpose of they created? To manage their ever growing volumes of data in their Facebook server. Now after using the Hive in Facebook servers or Facebook environment, the Hive has been handed over to Apache Foundation, and Hive will offer the following activities. That means Hive is going to be used HDFS for storage. That means to store the data in a Hadoop distributed file system format, we can use Hive. That means Hive is used for storage activity. And next one, we can perform basic map reduce operations using Hive. And third one, we can store metadata like in RDBMS. We can use Hive. That means Hive is a storage environment, programming environment. Here it is used for storage environment. In MapReduce, Hive can be used for programming environment, and it will also store the repository contents like metadata. Now we'll see what are the basic features of Hive. When compared to other existing storage and accessing tools, how Hive is differ. First one is Hive is similar to SQL. That means the syntactical representation and semantic representations of SQL and Hive will look like same. Here the programming in Hive will call it as a Hive query language. Now Hive is used to code like SQL programming. We can write programming concepts. Okay, now we'll see the architecture of Hive. Now in this slide we will discuss the components of Hive. Now Hive is in a two-layered architecture. That is, in bottom layer we are using HDFS for storage purpose. That means here we are using distributed file system concepts to store the files and to store the contents. So this is a bottom layer and bottom components, or you can say background components of Hive. So using HDFS we can create and we can store files in distributed format. And as we know, the components of Hadoop, like the components of Hive also we are having. That means in distributed environment, whatever job which has been assigned to each and every node, either it is a name node or a data node, primary node or secondary node, that data which has been assigned or job which has been assigned is going to be tracked by using job tracker. And tasks scheduling and task monitoring is going to be done by the task tracker. And here we are having the background is Hadoop. As we discussed, Hive will work on top of the Hadoop environment. So this is the background or backbone of storage environment. So in this environment, we are storing all the files in a distributed fashion, and every node and every job is going to be monitored and scheduled by using job trackers and task trackers. When we move to the upper layer or upper portion of the Hive architecture, we are having some 6 modules. We will discuss each and every module. Now, here we are having a metastore. Now, metastore will store the complete information about metadata. That means data about data, creation of the data, creation of the database schemes and data types which has been used, and log informations of each and every scheduling and jobs are going to be stored in metadata storage environment. Now, and we are having one more is Hive drivers. Now these drivers are used to create queries in HQL environment, to execute, to compile all queries. These drivers are going to be used. That means Hive drivers are used for query writing, compiler or compiling of the queries, execution of the queries. And when comes to command line interface, Hive can be operated in more than one mode. We can use standalone mode like command line interface, or we can use GUI interface. Now using command line interface, we can create or we can give basic syntactical commands to the Hadoop environment and Hive environment in order to access and create the data files. And we are having one more GUI environment is Hive web interface. This web interface will act as a user interface from foreground to background. That is, we can apply Hive applications on web environment, and we are having to monitor and to locate the control on the content of all Hive applications. Hive server, we can also call this Thrift server, is going to be used. That means the complete control of all Hive operations are controlled by and monitored by Hive server. And finally, Hive is the programming environment. Here we can write the required queries and we can execute the required queries in order to access the data or in order to store the data. So this is the complete architecture of Hive. Hive architecture is divided into 2 layers. We can say bottom layer and top layer. In bottom layer, and the bottom layer is used for storage purpose. So to store the data, we are using Hadoop distributed file system, and we are taking the components of Hadoop's help in order to store and in order to monitor the jobs and tasks which are assigned by the each and every node. And on the top layer or in the second layer, we are having some modules like command line interface, we are having web interface, we are having Hive Thrift servers, and we are having some drivers in order to write queries, to execute the queries, to compile the queries. We can take the help of drivers, and to store the metadata we are using metastore information. The complete programming environment we can use with the help of Hive architecture. Now we will see what are the basic types of data or data types in Hive. So basically there are 4 major data types which are going to be offered in Hive. Now what is a data type? In order to store a particular value, we require a storage environment, and to access the data we require a name of that storage environment. Let us take, we want to store an employee name. Whenever you want to store employee name in a memory, how to access that employee name? So like that, in order to store various different elements, we require its storage architecture. So here, the first type of data type in Hive is primitive data type. So in primitive data type, there are 4 subparts. We'll see those 4 types. The first one is a numeric type, numeric data type. Second one is date and time data type. Third one is
string or character data type. Fourth one is miscellaneous data type. These four we can call it as a primitive data types in Hive environment. We will see all this with suitable examples. So in numeric data type we are having some data types like we are having tiny integer, tiny int, small int, big int, float and double. We are all familiar with integer and float data types in our basic programming languages like C programming and Java. Here also we are using same storage types, integer type. Now in that integer type we are having four different types of integer in order to store values based on its number of characters in it, number of values in it. So tiny int will offer to store 1 byte signed integer. That means it will store maximum up to 1 byte information which is of signed integer. That means out of 8 bits, 1 bit is left for signed, remaining 7 bits are used to store content. When it comes to small int, it is a 2 byte signed integer. 2 byte signed integer. That means it will store nearly 16 bits of information, whereas tiny int will store 8 bits of data. Out of 8 bits, 1 bit is used for sign, remaining 7 bits are used to store the data. In 16 bits also 1 bit is used for sign bit, remaining 15 bits are used for data storage. And another one is integer. Integer data type will offer 4 bytes of information. That means it will store 32 bits of information. 1 bit for sign, remaining 31 bits are used to store the data. And to store higher value or a larger value than in 32 bits, then we can go for big int. In big int, it will store up to 8 byte of integer, signed integer. That means 64 bits of data can be stored in big int, which is of 8 byte signed integer. When it comes to float will store 4 bytes of single precision floating point number. Whenever you want to store a fractional value or a decimal values, we can use float data type, which is having a storage of 32 bits of single precision value. And the last one is the double. The double data type will store 8 bytes of double precision floating value. That means it will store up to 64 bits of decimal information is going to be stored in double environment. So these are the few numeric data types. Let's have a look at here. So here when we are using tiny int, which is of 1 byte in nature, it is having a range from minus 128 to 128. So minus 128 to 127. That means it's a decimal number. Decimal minus 128 to 127. When we are using a small int, it will store 2 bytes of signed data. Now its range is from minus 32,768 to 32,767. When comes to integer, it will store 4 bytes of data. That means 32 bits of signed data. Now it is range from minus 21,47,648 to 647. That is negative to positive. When we are going for a big integer, it will store up to 64 bit of decimal information. Now when it comes to floating data, floating is of two types. Either it is a double float and a decimal. A float will store 4 bytes of single precision number, whereas double is going to be used to store 8 bytes of double precision number, and decimal which is a arbitrary precision signed number. So these are the three floating point data types under
numeric. And second type of data type under primitive is date and time. Whenever you want to store time related values like login time and logout time of a machine, employee date of birth, like that, whenever we want to store time and date related information, we can use this data type. The second category of Apache Hive primitive data type is a date and time data type. Now there are three basic time data types which are going to be offered. They are timestamp data type, date data type and interval data type. Now timestamp will store the data up to maximum of nanoseconds, and to store the data values and date values, like to store sales information, purchase date or invoice date or employee date, joining date or employee date of birth, we can use date data type. To specify the range of values from and to dates, we can use interval. And to store character related or string related information like employee name, branch name, like that, if you want to store any character string related information, we can take the help of string data type. Now string data type are the third data type in Hive primitive data types. So in string we are having three different types of data types. They are string, it is an unbounded variable length character string. That means there is no specific size has been fixed. It is a variable length in nature. And second one is a varchar, that is variable length character string. And third one is a char, it is a fixed size character length. Let us see this character example. If you want to store 10 character, we want to store 10 character name in a char data type, and its actual storage is only 8 characters. So remaining 2 characters are going to be eliminated. That means it will store maximum only up to its specified length. If you specified it is up to 18, it can store up to 18 characters, not more than that. So these are the three string data types in Hive: string, varchar and char. And fourth one is under primitive, it is a miscellaneous. That means to represent a true or false statements or conditions, we can take the help of Boolean data type. To represent binary 1 and 0 values, we can take binary data type. So these two are the miscellaneous data types in Hive. They are binary and Boolean. And the second category of data types in Hive are complex data types. That means beyond the primitive and basic data types, when we want to deal about various large scale data, so these complex data types can be used. They are, we can take the help of arrays, map, structures and unions, and we will see the syntax of each and every complex data type. In array is an ordered collection of field. This field must be all of the same type. Like whenever we want to create more than one value, we can use this array data type. So array, its syntax is keyword called array followed by data type. Example, array 1, 2. That means it is storing two elements or two values of same type. In order to collection key value pairs, if you remember in Hadoop environment or MapReduce environment, each and every element that we are storing in Hadoop environment is going to be represented with a key value paired content. So whenever we are using Hadoop as a storage environment, so this key value pair information is going to be used to access or to store the data. So for that purpose we are using map data type. So in order an unordered collection of key value pairs, we can call it as a map. Keys must be primitive data types, values may be of any type. Let's have a look at on this.
Here the syntax is map primitive type and data type. So we can give any basic primitive type and we can use some basic data type. Like here, look at here. Here we saved 4 values like A1, B2. So here we are trying to store 2 characters and 2 numbers. So in this case, the first value will be the key value. Key. This is the value. Now B is a key value. 2 is its value. Another one is struct. That means a collection of named fields. A field may be of different types. Whenever you want to store or combine more than one type of value together, we can use structure. Like we want to combine employee name, employee salary and employee age. Employee name is a character type. Employee age and salary are the numeric type. Let us take age is a numeric or integer type. Salary is a float type. So we want to store all the 3 values together. One integer, one float and one character. Now when in this aspect we can use struct data type. Its syntax is struct followed by column name, data type. If you want to add a comment, you can add or you can continue. Like A1 1.0, sorry, A 11.0, column 1, column 3. So like that, whatever values you want to store, you can mention. That means from which column we want to access, from which column we want to store, that can be used here. When it comes to union, it is also like a structure, but it will store same data type. That means a value that may be one of the number of defined data. The value is tagged with an integer. It is a non-indexed value. So whenever you want to store multiple number of values of same type, we can use union. Its syntax is union type. So here we can write user defined value, data type and its value. And another type of data types in Hive are column data types. They are integral types, strings, timestamp, date, decimals and union types. So these are the some of additional data types that we can use in Hive environment. Now we'll move to what are the various types of file formats that we can create or that we can access in Hive environment. That means what are the various techniques we are having to create and to store and to access the data in Hive environment. Here Hive is offering 3 different types of storage or 3 different types of file formats. They are a text file, sequential file or record columnar file. That means we can create a plain text file. The default file format is a text file. And we can also create a sequential file. Sequential files are the flat files that store binary key value pairs of information. So whenever you want to store key value pairs of information in Hive environment, we can use sequential file format. And whenever you want to access a location from a node or a machine or to store in a particular location, RC file, that is record columnar file, stores the data in a column oriented manner. That means it will store the data in a column oriented manner. So it will store data in column 1. Upon completion, it will move to second column and it will store the value. So this is the column oriented, that is called RC file, record columnar file. And this record columnar file ensures that we can perform aggregation operations on data. We can perform basic aggregation operation, like we can apply sum operations, maximum, minimum, average, mean, like that. Whatever basic aggregation operations we want to perform, we can apply on
any data or a file if it was stored with this extension or in that file format. Now we'll go into the Hive query language. Like SQL programming, Hive query language is also used to write basic queries in order to access the data. Now we can create and manage tables and partitions. Using Hive query language, we can create a table, we can access and we can manage the table, and we can apply partitions on the table. And Hive will supports relational operations, logical operations and arithmetic operations. All arithmetic, logical, relational and etc. like Boolean operation also we can perform on HQL. And in HQL environment we can write some user defined functions, those are called UDFs. We can write user defined functions, and finally we can download the content of a table to any local directory in order to see the results from HDF directory. That means from local machine to remote machine we can transfer the data. We can transfer the data using HQL programming language. Now we'll see what is a database in Hive environment. To create a database, that means whenever you want to store a complete information about an organization, let us take, we want to create a database for complete sales information. Now in that sales database, we want to store all the tables and information which will directly fall into the category of sales. Like this, a database is used to create all the environment in order to store the relevant data. Now to create a database, we can use the following syntax. So to create a database with a name called students. So here we want to create a database with a name called students with some comments and try to provide some properties on the database. Let's look at the syntax here. The syntax is, we can use a keyword called create database if not exist. Look at here. Create database if not exist. That means if already database is existed with the same name, then only create. Create database if not exist. These are the keywords. Basically, these are optional. These three keywords are optional, like if, not and exist are optional. But anyhow, if we use it, duplication or replication can be reduced. Create database if not exist. Here we have written the database name as students, and here we are giving comment. Student, comment. Student, here the comment is student details. That means this is a description of that file. Here we are creating a database called student. For this, the description is student details. This we are calling it as a comment here. Student details. And we want to give some basic database properties. So we can use keyword called with DB properties. What is the property? Creator. That means in this database we can create some more files. The creator is John. That means this person can create tables in Hive environment. Using this syntax, we can create a database. Create database if not exist. Students comment. Student details is the keyword or description of the database that we want to give. Now to describe a database, to want to see the basic information about database, we can use the keyword called describe database, name of the database that we created. That means to want to see the complete schematic information of the database called students by using the keyword called describe database and with the database name called students. Describe database students. And if you want to delete or if you want to remove that database, we can apply drop operation. If there is no use or work with the database and we want to replace or we want to remove it, we can use this keyword. The keywords are drop space, keyword called database, and whatever database we want to remove, that we have to mention here. Drop database students. And now we know how to create a database. We created a complete environment for, let us take this is students database. Now in this student database we want to create some tables like student academic information, student placements information, student extracurricular information, competitive exam information. Like that we want to create various information tables in students environment. Now we are focusing here how to create a table in Hive environment. Now in Hive we can create two different types of tables. One is managed table, second one is external table. We can create a table called managed table, or we can create another type of table called external table. We'll see how to create a managed table. To create a managed table called student name, let's have a look at the syntax here. Give a close look here. Try to identify what are the keywords we used in earlier syntax. So to create database, we used a keyword called database. Now we are using a table. Use the keyword called create table. If not exist, if the whatever table you want to create, if it is not existed, create it. Create table if not exist with our desired name. Here the name is student. So here we have given some required keywords to create a table. Once the keywords has been given, what we are doing, we are trying to give required attributes like roll number of type integer. So here we are giving roll number of type integer, and next we are giving name with a string data type, and we are giving GPA which is of type float, because in GPA we will have numerical number. And in which format we want to create? We want to create in a row format. That means after creation of every row, we can go for another row. Here we are creating row format, and row format delimited fields terminated by /t. That means after entering all the values, let us take here, we want to enter some roll numbers like 1, 2, 2, 4, name is John, his GPA is 8.6. So all the three values have been entered. Whenever you want to enter a second row, it has to be terminated with a character called /t. Automatically control will go to the second row. So this is the way of creating a table with some delimiting values like /t. Now in previous slide we have seen how to create a managed table. Now in this we want to see how to create external table. Here the name of the table we want to create is ext_student. Let's see the syntax here. Like here we are creating a external table. Use a keyword called create external
keyword called table if not exist. So these are common keywords. And what is the desired name here? Here we want to give ext student with the required attributes. They are roll number, name, GPA, and what is the format we are entering? Row format delimited, fields terminated by /t, and here location is student_info. Now look at carefully the difference between managed table and external table here. Here we are creating a table in a remote location. From local machine to remote location we are creating. Here it is student info, that is a path. So in which location we are creating the file is called location. This location field is used to create external table. Now to load the data into the table from file name called student.tsv. If you want to create a file, here we are, what we are performing, we are loading the data. We are loading the data into a table. Now see the syntax here. Here we are using a keyword called load data local in path. So in which location we want to load? What is the data that we want to load in the data table? Here, to load the data, we have to give the specified path here. The keywords are load data local in path. Here we are giving the path of the file. So root hive demons student.tsv. So this is the exact file location. And what we are performing, we are loading overwrite. Why we are using the overwrite? If it is already existed, if the file is already exist in the table, it will be overwritten. If it is not existed, simply same file will be created. Overwrite into table ext_student. So ext_student we created earlier in the previous slide. So in that external table, what we are performing, we are loading the data from this path to this ext_student table. Now to retrieve the content, here in the previous slide we performed loading of the data. Now we want to see the content of it. Now the basic command is select star from ext student. It is very much familiar for us. Using the keyword called select, star indicates access all the elements, all the rows. From is the keyword, that means to fetch the data. From is a keyword and the file name is ext_student. Now this a single line command will display the complete information of the values which have been stored in this table, that is ext_student. Now in how many ways we can perform the partitions? So this concept we will see in the next session. Thank you.